When you see that Southern Cross for the first time, you understand now why you came this way. Because the truth you might be running from is so small, but it's as big as the promise of a coming day. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter from deep in the bowels of our underground layer, where you'll always get a gold medal performance without the concentration camps. How you doing, Andrew?
Well, that's good to know. I mean,
yeah.
How long have we been in our underground layer now? It seems like we've been in that for a while.
It's kind of like Groundhog's Day. We come out and see that the world is still crappy, and we go back inside.
This podcast might be one of them today with the subject we're going to get to. By the way, I think I know the song.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I want to say it's some artists that have been making news recently, at least a couple of them, about not being too happy about Spotfly.
Right.
I'm going to say it's Crosby, Young, Nash, and Stills.
I'm not sure if Young is a part of it.
He might not have been.
Song,
I don't know who is who on that, but I'm pretty certain that's Crosby, Stills, Nash.
Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And because we're talking a little Southwest today. But we'll get to that in just a moment.
A little Southwest. By the way, I want to let everybody know something. On my podcast, we predicted the Super Bowl, and I was actually right on the winner.
Yeah, you were.
I mean, I didn't really watch it that intently, but I don't know why. The game just didn't.
I came home and saw the score at the end.
Well, you know what? I don't like all of the. I like the game, and I don't like all the BS with it. I don't care for the dumb halftime show. I don't care who's there.
Nope.
It means nothing to me.
When it used to be like The Who or U2 or things like that, I would watch.
Nobody can top Michael Jackson from the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
That'll never be topped in my book. So, and I know my book's pretty thin.
U2 was really good.
Not a lot of pages in it.
Prince did an amazing job.
I'll tell you who was the worst.
At the halftime show.
The worst were the Rolling Stones.
No, the worst was this year. But other than that.
The Rolling Stones sounded like poop.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger had a shirt on that was like 9 sizes too small. Keith Richards had he was hooked up to a
marionette
electric shocks thing so that he looked alive. They were god awful. Now, granted, I know they're all 110, but it's I mean, I liked it when it was the older artists, though. That's just me. I know NFL does their woke.
Right. It's all got to be rap or R&B.
It's got to be.
It can't be.
Yeah, no whites
else.
allowed.
Right.
We all know what that's. I mean, here.
Nope.
I mean, to me, halftime's the time to turn it over to the Law and Order marathon.
Well, they're appealing to a certain crowd, and you're not it. So,
I guess not. Speaking of sports,
yes.
Pitchers and catchers were supposed to report yesterday.
They did not.
They're not, thanks to the worst commissioner in the history of sports, that dimwit who runs baseball. You know what I'll tell you, Rob Manfred, you know what he's really a poster child for?
No.
This is something that really bothers me about commissioners in sports, that they're just the butt buddy of the owners. They're not independent commissioners. There was a time in baseball... the first commissioner ever, Kennesaw Landis, took crap from nobody. He told owners off. He banned owners. He forced them to sell teams. He told them off if he felt like he had to.
So with commissioners, are they appointed by the owners?
Yes, they're signed to contracts by the owners.
This kind of sounds like, the teachers union, supporting school board members that end up picking the principals that...
But I mean, how does a commissioner act in the best interest of the game when they only answer to one side of an argument?
Right.
It just isn't fair. And I think that the owners could lift the lockout and they could keep negotiating. There's nothing that stops that. I'm going to make a prediction, a bold one. We don't see baseball till June. Wow. That's my predictions. I don't see this ending anytime soon.
I mean, is there any movement?
Yes, yesterday they met for 15 minutes.
Oh, it's like a Joe Biden day. Rob
Manfred came in for a minute, grabbed a newspaper, took a dump, came back, and they were done. That was it.
Wow.
In fact, they went 6 weeks without talking during the winter. And that's some crappy leadership, really, on both sides.
Yep.
But ultimately, the players are the ones locked out right now. I mean, I don't cry for either side. They're both arrogant pricks. But I just... baseball is on the decline in this country, and it really
Right.
has been since the '94 strike. I know football had overtaken them in television ratings, but television ratings is not the be-all, end-all of sports. Football has a natural advantage with that, playing one day a week and having a very short season.
Right.
And I don't know that baseball can survive this. I don't know that it will. It's so on the decline in this country right now.
Yeah.
That I don't know that they can have a prolonged. I think they're gonna though. I really think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be months. And to be honest with you, even if they open things up today, you couldn't start spring training for about a month because you still have free agency. Some guys I follow on Twitter were saying there's still 200 unsigned free agents.
Oh my goodness.
So all that still has to happen, and you have to set a new date.
Yeah.
Then set a new date for spring training, and then you'd have to have some kind of spring training. I mean, maybe it's only 2 weeks, maybe it's only 3, but the season's not starting on time. I don't know. These people are in social media are on dream world here.
Right.
If they think that, I think it's April 2nd. I think they're supposed to start or something like that, and. You folks are in la la land. It is not. It is even if they reach the deal tomorrow, the season's not starting on time.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to be pretty cranky. Because spring training is when I first start getting, the wheels start turning in the head about fishing and grilling, and with no baseball, I'm going to be pretty darn cranky, I think, this spring, as if this winter hasn't sucked enough. And then, Jay, let me say one more thing.
Well, before you move on, I have a question. Do you think that we will never again see a season where scabs come in and play part of a season? Do the unions have too much control over professional sports that we'll never see that again?
No, I think you could see that. I mean, I think the problem with that, first off, this isn't a players' strike, so you're not going to see scabs come in. If it was the other way around, you might see that.
This is because the owners are the one pushing this. There's no baseball for anybody. If it were the players and the owners wanted baseball, they would have baseball.
Yeah, they could. They could hire replacement players, I think is the nice word for scabs.
Okay, well, whatever.
I think you could see it again.
Yeah.
I think it's in the interest of both sides that doesn't happen. But I'll tell you what, I think it would have happened in 1995 had there not been an agreement, because we were starved for baseball. I think, it was very close to happening. I mean, they went to spring training with replacement players, that year after the 94 push deal. But
I suppose
they don't own the stadium. They own the operation of the stadium.
Oh, that's true.
Stadiums are often not owned by
municipalities.
Most of them are.
Yes. So is there any way that players could get together and strike a deal with the stadium owners or the city councils or county boards whoever?
Probably not, because you can't use the team name or the team logos,
or the
team sponsors or the team's TV deal. I mean, you'd have to junk all of that for that, and they'd get sued. I mean, the owners who have all the money,
right?
Are going to Fox and all of them are going to get sued if that happens. So I mean. Yeah, in theory, could they create an outlaw league? Yeah, I mean, I guess they could.
I like the thoughts of that.
Remember, they're under contract, too. I mean,
you might see a pitcher pitch for more than 3 minutes.
You know what I'd do? What? If I were all the free agents, maybe that's the 200 guys, you could make 8 teams out of that.
You could.
Go play somewhere. I'd love to see that.
Maybe we should write. You're connected with some of them on Twitter, right? You should say, hey, we want baseball. Form an outlaw league. All of you free agents. And
look, here's the thing. If you got some major league talent, I mean, names people know, that's what's going to draw the eyeballs. So why not?
Why not?
I mean, at least it would. I think just the threat of that would push this forward.
Yeah,
they're miles apart on some of the biggest issues, and I mean, they've been inching, and I don't see either side making any moves. And They don't seem to be bothered by a protracted strike, and I think it's going to. And then here's the other issue: if you back up the start of the season, now you got to agree on a shortened season, revenue sharing for that season. This is what happened during the COVID year.
Right.
They were ready to play around Memorial Day. Couldn't agree on how to split up the money with no fans, in most stadiums. And so, and no concession revenue and all that. I mean, it did screw up the CBA, but again, it took them 2 months to get on the field.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to agree on, okay, we're going to play a 100-game season, an 80-game season, but they ain't playing in a 162-game season, I can tell you that. So, sorry, everybody, but I know the Saints start in May. I think they're going to start before the Twins. So, actually, the minor leagues, I'm not sure how they're affected by that.
Really?
Because remember, the Saints are now the Twins AAA team.
Yep.
I don't know that they just start playing with those spring training, and does the minor league spring training go on? I don't know what happens.
Yeah, I
with
don't
that.
know.
It's all effed up. By the way,
Interesting. Yeah. If you're with the Saints, go ahead and shoot us a message.
yeah, I know. I don't know the answer. So
COMMsolutionsmn@gmail.com.
because and I tell you what, if have you been to a Saints game since
have
they moved over
not,
to
no.
HSCS Field or whatever?
No.
Pros and cons of, I probably talked about this before, how much I was a fan of Midway. Midway probably needed to be upgraded, if not replaced. I mean, but it's a great time to go over there. It's kind of a mini Target Field, though. It doesn't have that feel to it, but it's still a great place to go. It's still
I like those older minor league stadiums. I mean, I had the privilege of
Midway had that feel to it.
When I was playing Moose Ball, the American Legion ball down here, same thing. Well, that's what the Moose Lodges, So they sponsored, So we would play at Wade Stadium in Duluth.
Sure, okay, I know where that is.
That was so fun to be able to play it in that stadium. Yeah.
I remember I got to play one game at Midway Stadium.
Yeah.
In baseball. This was before the Saints came.
Yeah.
I was right before they came, because they came around 90. I was still in high school when they got in 93, 94. So I got to play one game there in some tournament, and I played one game of football at the Metrodome. Skinned both knees and both elbows. I played on the old turf.
Yeah.
Now they have something called field turf, which is like fake grass.
Yep.
Then it was like carpet.
Right.
And you had to play in tennis shoes. You couldn't wear cleats.
It was like the indoor-outdoor carpet you'd find on your boat.
Oh, my
right?
God. It
was terrible.
And so it was really bad. But it was cool to play. I mean, the Dome, it was around the time the Twins won the World Series in '87. I think it was the next fall. And it was cool to be on the field and play, but good God.
Yeah.
By the way, okay, one more thing before we get going too far here, jumping in. Redistricting is out finally. Did you see this the other day?
I haven't been able to look at it yet.
Congrats,
I'm sure
Jay. You're still in CD5.
I didn't think there was any shot of that.
Yeah, you're now in District 43.
Really?
I am now in 42. Remember, I was still in 45 in Plymouth.
Yeah.
I don't even know who my rep is right now. And you'd be glad to know Ann Rest is running for another term. Just announced yesterday that she's at age 168.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's only got about 10 years on Nancy Pelosi. So
here's an interesting development, though.
Yes.
That Ron Latz.
From St. Louis Park.
And Melissa Franzen, who's from Edina, are now in the same district.
Oh.
And you won't believe this. Okay,
Yeah.
This is Melissa Franzen. Congratulations. You're so in love with yourself. And by the way, Julie Rosen is stepping down.
Yeah.
Because she's now redistricted with another Republican. And she's deciding not to run. And I can't remember who she's I don't know where she's from. I think she's from northern Minnesota.
Okay.
But she's been there a long time. She's the chair of like the transport, one of those really, really powerful committees. But she came out yesterday and said, I'm not going to run anymore.
Wow.
But Melissa Franzen is weighing whether to move so
you're
she can
kidding
run
me.
for another term.
Aren't there requirements? Like you have to live
six
somewhere?
months before the election day. So she has until May 8th to move somewhere else.
I'm so in love with my own power and think I'm so important that I'm going to move my. I assume she has some sort of a family. Maybe she's older.
Yes,
and her
she
kids
does, a young
have moved out.
family.
Oh, she has a young family. I'm going to uproot them from their school. I'm going to uproot them from their friends so that I can stay in power rather than go back to the private sector.
Yes. So,
Unreal.
yeah, it's incredible. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
One bit. So I don't know what the new district. She was in 49. Latz was 46. Now,
Right.
because of where they live, they're now in the same district. So,
Wow.
wonderful, just wonderful. By the way,
Yes.
District 2, which seems to be the number one hotbed in this state,
Yeah.
seems to have gotten slightly redder. It has gone further south, rather than encompassing more of the suburbs.
Yeah.
4, once again, is going all the way out to the St. Croix River and a little further south.
Right.
So
'Cause 8's coming all the way down to Stillwater, I heard.
8's coming close to there. Just north. I don't think Stillwater is in the 8th. I think
Okay.
that's still in the 4th. But it is going way down.
Wow.
There. So, and in fact, it also went west, which is another
Really?
weird development.
That many people.
Or there's more goal as you can. I think maybe more what's happened is I know 6 has grown, and I know 3 has grown.
Right.
So I think it is compacting them a little
Well, I
bit
think
more.
4 and 5 have shrunk.
Probably. It's certainly they haven't grown.
Mass exodus out of Minneapolis and
Yeah,
St.
well,
Paul.
Minneapolis is importing people from
Run
wherever
for your
wherever they
lives.
can
Yes.
find them. So I don't know. So yeah, I mean, so redistricting didn't change a ton. I don't think that you're going to see a whole lot of movement of the congressional seats.
Yeah.
But I think 2 becomes the number one hotbed in the state, followed by probably 1 and 3. I think the other 5 are going to be 6, 7, 8, 4, and 5. They're going to be tough
Right.
to unseat anybody. So that's where we stand on redistricting. So check it out. I've gone 42B, I think I am now. I don't
Really?
know. I don't know who the hell that is.
43 I'm in?
Yep, District 43.
Don't like that number.
You don't like this is what I don't like. Minnesota has more legislators than California or New
Yeah,
York.
I know.
I mean, it's ridiculous how many we have. I mean, it's just
I say we get rid of the House.
unicameral legislature. I mean, that's what I support too. Get rid of these conference committees. Make every bill. Remember the show we did with John last on the Community Solutions show, and how he
Yes.
showed how few votes, no votes are ever taken
13.
anymore. Yeah, because
Wasn't it 13 votes?
It was very few.
It used to be 1,000, and now they take 13 because they cram everything into an omnibus bill.
Well, and they just they don't put anything as nobody gets an up or down vote anymore.
I know.
No issues do. It's all just hold a hearing and then wait until May or June.
Right.
So unfortunately, they're in session right now.
Ugh.
Unfortunately for all of us here in Minnesota, and I'm sure both parties will do their best to screw everything up.
It would be nice if they would take a vote tomorrow to disband.
Hey, like I said before,
Yes.
why do they have to meet this year?
There's no reason. It's a bonding year, so they really have
Yeah, they can take their bonds, and I can
no
tell them
reason to meet.
I can tell them where to put those bonds.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
if we got a $7 billion surplus, what do we need a bonding bill for?
exactly.
I mean,
Send the money back.
that's like
and
having
cool your jets.
Jay. You got
Yeah.
$5 million in your bank account, and then you take out a loan to buy a boat. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the equivalent to that. So I mean, it's just silly.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but unfortunately, for all of us, they're meeting. By the way, you want to talk about something bad?
No.
Here's what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Something I know you're going to start taking every day. You're going to move to the southwest part of the because you can't wait for Botno to run by your house.
Oh boy.
So you remember Botno was supposed to be operational like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't
Something
know.
like that.
I don't know what. So I mean, so you've got You're going to move down to Southwest Light Rails. You can take that every day, right, Jay?
No.
Yeah.
No. If anything, it will cause me to move further out. Take up residence in like Maple Plain or something. I don't know.
For now, that's still Hennepin County.
I know.
I mean, Independence. Isn't that the last city before
Independence
Delano there?
Yeah. Delano's a long drive, though. I don't know if I could do that every day.
Probably not.
And Anoka County is
Anoka County.
Anoka County. You know,
They're not that much gooder.
they're a little gooder, but
A little gooder, but not enough gooder. But would you be surprised to know when do you think the conception of Southwest Light Rail began? But by the way, it's in the news because it's only costing like $100 gazillion more than they thought. Oh wow, we're
What?
shocked. Oh wow, we're shocked.
Yeah.
Now they want to audit the. By the way, I looked at the our state auditor. I would like to follow her around. Julie Blah is her name. And I would like to follow. Rebecca Otto was the audit. Yeah, it's Blah, right? Isn't it? Yeah, it's Blah. And Rebecca Otto, I wish I could go back for the 12 years she was the auditor and follow them around during the day and see what they actually do.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing all day? Because you're sure as hell not doing your job. I mean, both of them their campaigns were financed by the agencies they're supposed to be auditing.
Right.
So they're not going to go and do anything like that. So, I mean, what do they do? What is Julie Blah? What are you doing? What are you doing all day? You actually get paid? Do you punch in a clock?
Well,
I mean, I'm sure she's getting all her cushy government benefits.
she's got to sign all the comprehensive annual financial reports. I mean, I doubt she looks at them, but she's got to sign them.
And they're not performed by the auditor's office.
Right. So you have what? Maybe 853 cities, and then you got the counties, so you got another 87, then you got the schools. It takes a while to sign your name that many times. You got to shake your
How about
hand
the
out.
townships?
You know,
she's got a stamp. Don't she got a
You
stamp?
get that cramp right in the...
But she's got to take 2 weeks off, you know, and get her medication and her carpal tunnel. So to do, so what? Jay, I want to ask you this:
Okay.
What year do you the Hennepin County Regional Railroad Authority?
Yes.
One of the worst ideas ever. Which is, by the way, on your property taxes, that's a separate levy.
Yes.
For Hennepin County has 3. They've got the housing one, the railroad one, and the big one that everybody talks about. They got these 2 little ones too,
Right.
which aren't so little right now. When do you think that the Southwest Transit Corridor was identified for rail? What year do you think that happened?
Well, probably, seeing as it's rail, it should have been, 1920.
Yeah, or 1880.
1880,
maybe.
yeah. I don't know. But it was probably
I don't think
more
the Hennepin
like,
County Regional Authority was around,
Right.
You know, in the Rutherford B. Hayes administration. But
That's true. But it was probably, if I was going to guess, I would say like 1997.
you're not that far off, but you're far off.
Okay. These things take a while.
Yeah, sorry that went down the wrong hatch.
Yes.
1988 was the year.
88, even further. Wow.
Back in the Rudy Perpich days.
So they've been planning this for 40 years almost.
Right.
35 years.
And once it's identified, that's when the behind the scenes BS begins.
Right.
Talking to the cities, talking to their staff, getting the game plan together to sell it to the public.
Yes.
Getting their environmental impact studies, which they have to do to get the free money, you know, from the feds. And so this took quite a while to advance, like a decade to go, because Hiawatha, which actually was planned even earlier than that,
Yes.
went first. That boondoggled everything, but it never stopped anything from happening. Fast forward to 2010. The Metropolitan Council voted to approve the local preferred alternative that they forced on everyone.
Yeah.
And the project got transferred to Metropolitan Council control. Now, here's where everything fell apart.
Yes.
Because once it got to that point, And you had their environmental impact studies. They could then apply for the state and federal money. You had changes to the plan. You had blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was... But then they also ran into the what's the one that goes up to Big Lake?
The North Star.
North Star, you had that come in there.
Yeah.
2016 was when the state was supposed to come through with their end of the money. And you'll be very happy as a Hennepin County taxpayer, you and I both.
Oh, I bet.
That the $144 million that the state was supposed to come through did not happen in 2016. The money never got allocated. So the Metropolitan Council, the County Transit Improvement Board, and Hennepin County put up the $144 million.
Oh, my goodness.
So the County Transit Improvement Board, which is all the 7 county, it's down to 5 now.
Well, they got rid of that board.
They got rid of that board, but they created a sister plan. You know, it's kind of hokey. Actually, I think it's worse now.
Probably.
And the Met Council, which of course is the taxpayers of the whole state, and Hennepin County, the Met Council put up 70% of the money. Over $100 million. Over $20 million came from the County Transit Improvement Board and the regressive sales taxes. And then the other $20.5 million came from Hennepin County alone. Southwest goes entirely, I believe, within Hennepin. Is Eden Prairie Hennepin County?
Yes. I believe it is.
Oh, boy.
I think. Trying to think where. I know Shakopee's not.
They're not Hennepin County?
No.
It doesn't go that far south, though. It goes...
No. Bloomington's part of it, so I think Eden Prairie's part of it. I think Burnsville and Bloomington is kind of the separating.
I don't think it goes south of that. I don't think so. Hennepin County, I mean.
Right.
Yeah, so they came up with... So how do you love that those 3 entities came up with they just happened to come up with the money? I mean, just crazy. So,
yeah. Well, to quote our good friend Mark Hoffman, anytime the government needs money, they can tax our butts for it, right?
Pretty much.
And cover our butts, cover their butts, and cover somebody's butts. By taxing
whoever's
the people.
asses they're covering, it doesn't matter. I mean, just
yeah.
So, in fact, prior to that, the Metropolitan Council had already approved a $1.7 billion budget, very, very low estimate to what was supposed to be it.
Right.
So it's been a mess ever since. It's been horrendous. The construction this is the part that I love. They have unexpected poor soils in this area. I thought they did an environmental impact study. Where was that? Where was the poor soils in the environmental impact study? Did the FTA look at that? They just signed off $1 billion like nothing?
Wow.
So
too much peat moss, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, boy. Glad they thought that one out before doing it. This is why government shouldn't ever do anything.
Well, it's the problem with mass transit that is not flexible.
Right.
You know, if you have bus routes or something like this, you can always move those, change those where demand is or where the population goes. Or something like that. You can't do that with something that's permanent like this.
Right.
And, of course, now that it's there, if it makes 5 cents, doesn't matter. They're not going to tear it down once they've built it.
No. There's no realization in government of, maybe this isn't going to work. they just cram it down your throat, and they anticipate that, well, people get used to it. It's here for now.
I know. It's like building a community center or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did the same thing with the Botno line. It's like starting all of this stuff and the plans and the environmental impact studies and this and that. And, what do you mean that you're not going to sell us your rail line?
That's inexcusable.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I mean, you're going to build it on a line that you don't own.
Right.
And you're just going to assume that
they're going to give it to you. This is what government does every time. They're poor planners because they're not business people.
Well,
there's some egghead from a university that comes out willing to and trying to push the progressive agenda.
Well, but remember, a business has to make a profit. A business has to weigh expenses and revenue. Government doesn't. Government has this thing called the taxpayer.
Right.
They just throw stuff in a bottomless pit.
Yeah.
So they don't have to. But I'm having. I should say, Jay, is it wrong to have fun watching this whole thing just kind of fall apart? Because now there's another delay going on. And I don't want to get too much in the weeds with it because it's just, but the Met Council has agreed to some $210 million construction plan or something that's going to take 6 more years or 5 more years or something like that. And of course, we're 60% built, which is what they claim, which I don't know where they get that from. Do you see it 60% built anywhere? I mean, no. I don't know. No. Yeah, I don't know where they get that, but so of course they can't stop the project.
Right.
If you're at the casino and you've blown 60% of your life savings, well, you might as well blow the other 40%. I mean, why?
And then
why
borrow
keep
another.
Why keep
20,000? Right. Yeah.
You've. Well, why stop and say, gee, maybe we won't compound this mistake by doing the same thing 100 more times. But that's not how our government thinks.
No.
And quite frankly, I'm laughing at sort of the. By the way, I'm going to say this too. Both parties are responsible for this. I mean, the idea that one side has been opponents of this consistently is BS.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, but North Star was put in there under Governor Pawlenty.
Yep.
Hiawatha was under Governor Ventura. There was a Republican House under both governors that allocated money, and that's where bills began that do all the funding. Governor Pawlenty appointed an entire Met Council.
Yes, he did.
I mean, so back when Dayton became the governor, Republicans had both houses. They've had the Senate for 6 years now. They've had the House for 4 more, not now, but previously. So neither side has been innocent in this. And I'll tell you what, here's my favorite part. They now want to audit this project.
Oh.
But I am baffled to accomplish. I mean, Jay, if we're going to sit here and go, gee, has government wasted money? Well, that's a foregone conclusion.
Yes, it's synonymous.
The question is anything going to change as the result of an audit?
No.
So what's the point of going on with going forward? What is this? Is this a stunt?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I don't understand why they do what they do, and why, when there's no more, forgive the pun, no more track for them to run on, they all of a sudden become John Henry and or whatever. They're going to shoulder the whole thing by themselves. And
well, it's projected to be a $2.7 billion project now.
Yeah,
for 14 miles of rail.
$2 billion.
2.7 billion.
Oh, sorry, almost 3. That's unacceptable. And here we are sitting in the middle of one of the largest inflationary periods in the past 40 years, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And so track costs more, spikes cost more, the timber costs more, the gas for the machines that build the track costs more. And so you're thinking that you're only going to do this for $2.7 billion, and we're not even close to being done with inflation yet. This is not transitory. This is not going away. They're saying this is still going to take another 10 years.
Well, and think about the other thing, too. Think about gas prices, I think, are one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
I mean, I got gas yesterday for $3.49. Now, what's that going to be in June?
$4.
It's going to be even more. I mean, it may be worse than that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, goodness gracious, it's just, yeah, it's rough.
Yes, it is. But you know, these people don't listen to reason. They don't listen to their constituents. They just keep plowing ahead.
Well, let me put it to you like this. I'm looking at comments by. I'm going to go to an NPR. This is from a few weeks ago, but I'm going to go to an NPR article from January 27th, 2022.
Okay.
You know, the blah, blah, blah. They just talk about, you know, what we already talked about.
Uh-huh.
But I want to get to what people say they're going to do here. Mm-hmm. Senator Scott Dibble, DFL Minneapolis, says he intends to sponsor a bill to probe the whole project. Okay. With funding from the Office of the Legislative Auditor to tackle this project. Well, why does the auditor need special funding to do their job?
Yeah.
Isn't their job to audit this? I mean, what are they doing right now? What are they auditing? Nothing.
Right.
So why do they need special funding to do this? The Met Council should be audited all the time.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I went to the auditor's website today and typed in Southwest. I typed in Botno. You can't find one thing on them.
I'm sure.
So, and of course, you know, going to like the Met Council's page, you know how hard it is to navigate through that, try to figure out what's what, and, you know, with the bonding and everything else, where all the money's going. It's not very simple. Republicans, of course, you know, talk a great game, but yeah, they kind of come a little bit short of actually, you know, Dave Osmek, Karen Housley, some other people have been critical of this and are backing the audit, but I'm really not sure what.
I don't want an audit. I want it shut down.
Yeah, I mean, masstransitmag.com has reported that Governor Walz has come out in favor of an audit, yet his own budget allocates more money to Southwest Light Rail. So, I mean, if you're going to put more money toward it, what is the point of an audit? Well, we're going to keep going forth with it no matter what, but we'll audit to see how bad we're doing.
Well, and I don't know. Everything has become so political. I mean, an auditor position didn't used to be political. They crunched the numbers, but now I don't trust them to come up with the right numbers. And how much of this is political to hide the waste? How much of it is to say, "Oh no, this is coming in great"? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, and again, too, you know, the audits can come in where you can't. Yeah, often they're not written in English too. Like you can't figure out what's what.
Right.
Here's some. Okay, I'm gonna go to a MinPost article. This is from February 4th. It's titled "Difficult Questions Remain About How Southwest Light Rail Project Will Be Completed." So. It's already going to be completed, but we're just questioning how it's going to be, which is the Green Line Extension. I guess it's technically what's it called. Here, listen. Boy, I'll tell you, our House Transportation Chair, Frank Horstein, you can get more ignorant than this guy.
Oh,
Quote,
boy.
the length of the delay and the excess cost was surprising even to me. Really?
Isn't this your baby? Are you,
I mean,
I didn't know.
It's like, but I didn't know how horrible government was till today. I mean, what the heck? I mean, has he not been did he not follow Hiawatha and what the original projections were compared to what ended up costing, the ridership was supposed to be on North Star? And
Well, it's worse than that, though. I mean, if you had finished reading the paragraph, this Frank Hornstein, DFL Minneapolis, represents the beleaguered portion of the line and has been a project gadfly for a decade. A decade. And it took you 10 years to figure out that your plans stink.
I'm going to even go to the rest of that, Jay. It exposes a lot of problems. Oh, wow. Just
Guess whose
discovering it.
problems guess whose fault those problems are? Yours, because you represent the beleaguered part of the project. Not the good part of the project, not the part of the project where they managed to get it in and get it completed. The worst part of the project with the most problems, and this exposes more problems.
Well, and let me let's go on to Hennepin County Commissioner Debbie Goetel?
Where? How much further?
We've done
down
enough
is
of
that?
these projects to know
Debbie
what we
Gettle.
don't know. Huh?
Debbie Gettle.
Gettle. We've done
We
enough of these projects to know what we don't know.
We haven't done enough of these projects to know what we don't know.
Really? So then you're signing off on all the spending.
I can tell you this. They're planning, 11 of these around the metro? 13 of these around the metro.
13 are in some sort of planning or operation.
They can finish all 13 and they still will not have the expertise necessary to know what they don't know.
I know. They will never know what they don't know even if they do know.
I know. It's like, if you knew it, you wouldn't not
We
know
wouldn't
it.
be in this situation if you. But whose fault is it for not knowing? I mean,
Well, all of them. I mean, it starts with Walz, and
but it didn't start with Walz.
no, it didn't.
This goes all the way
start with
back
Walz,
to
but a decade ago with Frank Horse Trader or whatever his name is, and spending a decade on a project that he's screwed up so bad that he still can't take responsibility for it, even though he's responsible for the problem area of the whole project.
Well, and I'm gonna stick with Hornswoggle or whatever
Yes,
his name is.
that's his name, Hornswoggle.
This is from writing from InPost. Despite
Yes.
calls from critics to suspend construction, it is unrealistic to expect the extension, now 62% built with the majority of the cost already absorbed, to be abandoned. $1 billion in federal matching funds will need to be returned to Washington. Fine. We got a $7 billion surplus. Take $1 billion and send it to Washington and save the rest of this money. I'm fine with that.
I've got my car 62% paid off, but I'm out of oil. I'm going to continue to drive it until I throw the rods through the hood. How about that?
So Hornswoggle had asked.
Yeah.
We're going to call this guy that now.
All right.
Frank Hornstein, you're Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle asked here's another thing. Asked the
Yes.
legislative auditor to probe Southwest last summer. The auditor's office declined, citing a lack of staff and funds.
So they want more money so that they can do the audit.
I guess so. Not do the audit without a raise.
Well,
on,
absolutely.
Jay.
Math
You
is
can't-
hard.
You can't expect that.
No. Math is hard. I wouldn't be just putting numbers together for nothing.
Yeah. Tell you what, I'll do the audit for $50. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how bad it is.
Here's the audit. This stinks. Stop while you're behind.
I will say,
Yes.
here's another thing. I'd say this is even a worse idea. Hornswoggle and Dibble have gotten together to introduce a bill that will make Met Council members elected instead of appointed, which is where, you know what? It needs to be abolished. I mean,
Yes.
they're right in a sense that the Met Council has screwed this up and they are not held
Absolutely.
accountable and they are not. But I go back to Hornstein and Hornswoggle. Dibbleswoggle. If you go
Dribble swoggle.
whatever. I mean,
Yes.
if where is the power of the purse here? The oversight's on the
I know.
legislature.
They're the ones that gave this power to the Met Council, and now they're all upset about it. You know, don't make it elected. Nobody knows who anybody is anyways. What's one of the most common things that I hear when I hear people talk about local elections is there's all these judges on the back. I don't know who any of them are. I don't know who county attorney is. I don't know who this is. I don't know who that is. You think by putting another name on the ballot for some position that's as far away as St. Paul that they're going to have any idea who they're voting for whatsoever?
Well, and
No.
also somebody tell me what district are you in for the Mecca? Do you even know?
3, I think, or 1 or 18. I don't know. What am I in?
No,
I don't even know who my council or my Met Council representative is.
I don't either.
I know who it used to be, but that was, I don't know. So if they were running for whatever it is, all I know is Met Council bad. You know, that's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's 16 districts.
Yeah.
Charlie Zeal who's the old MnDOT commissioner.
So he's a zealot, huh?
He is the Met Council head.
Oh,
now.
boy.
He's moved up.
Moving
and-
on up.
And he talks here about how, we can't stop now. We just have to keep going no matter
Oh,
what.
absolutely. It's because all the population projections are going up like 145%.
Yeah, and none of them will ride this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be 1 million people along
They're
the
all
corridor. They'll all just drive right by it.
They're all moving out to Medina.
And they're getting away from it. But again,
Yes.
here's the thing. I mean, let's step back and go to the bigger picture here because, like we talked about, I mean, whether it's Northern Lights, whether it's the Red Rock, whether it's Botno, I mean, there's so many of these projects in some form of planning.
Yeah.
Or some form, and there's the Gateway, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Northern Lights Express up to Duluth.
right? I mean, they're still want to extend the North Star to St. Cloud, so just fewer people will ride it.
Right.
So, I mean, what's going to happen with? You watch all these costs. I mean, you'd think somebody would learn something from it. You'd think somebody would go, okay, wait a second. This isn't working. These things aren't where there's no way we're going to get the bang for the buck for any of this stuff.
Well, this is what happens when you elect people that are completely self-unaware and have no humility, and there's not an ability to take a look back at what you've done, analyze it, and give it a fair judgment either way. These people do not learn from their mistakes.
They don't think they're making mistakes. Jay.
Well, I know. They are incapable of rationalization and self-reflection. It is really the worst.
Well, I mean, it's what happens when you're just
A rubber stamp for whatever
That's pretty much
the Democrats want to do.
I mean, and I'll tell you, listening to these comments here.
Oh boy.
Arthur Fonzarelli Winkler III Jr., the man with not a
awesome.
strand of hair out of place, said there's a need to learn from mistakes and cost overruns this project, but Winkler stressed the investment in mass transit and light rail needs to continue.
Yeah, it's a mistake, but keep going, boys.
Yeah, so give it the green light.
Yeah.
But don't do anything different here. We already talked about Melissa Franzen,
Yes.
whose district would, quote, be served by the line, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Says she's hesitant to put the project on hold because, quote, listen to this,
Okay.
quote, it could cost a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not costing a lot now.
Oh, my
$2
God.
billion. It's
What
not going to cost a lot to finish it.
What an airhead.
Oh.
I mean, this is the same lady who wants to move so she can stay in the Senate. It might cost a lot of money to stop. Well, it costs a lot of money to build. So what? I mean, what?
It does, yes.
Walz.
Oh, do we
Jesus
even want to
Christ.
hear that?
Walz did not commit, typical Tim Walz language, wouldn't commit to anything. Walz didn't commit to a pause, says the article, saying he prefers to hear more from experts.
Of course.
Well,
it's
who
always
are the
it's never the experts in the community that, I really like my community the way it is. I don't want this thing.
Yeah, but
It's-
here's the thing.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Okay. I don't elect experts.
No.
Okay. I'm not electing a governor to rubber stamp what a bunch of planners put forth. It's not. That's not Walz's job. His job is to look at everything in its totality and weigh the benefits and the costs.
Right.
And no one's doing that. No one's doing that on either side.
No. Government has become where it is agenda driven, and it doesn't matter what the repercussions are. You, no matter what, have to run your agenda. And unfortunately, there's one group that goes over and above their stated agenda, and there's another one that really has less than their stated agenda. And unfortunately, we're the losers in it every time.
Yeah, I mean, well, who's we the people are the loser.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
forget what side. Okay, here's another quote from Charlie Zeal.
That's what I meant. I guess the taxpayer.
Yeah.
Yes.
He said in an interview that he's, quote, very open to additional scrutiny.
As long as we don't stop the line.
Yeah, including a legislative audit. We have nothing to hide, end quote. That's strange, coming from somebody in charge of something.
Yeah.
But he added that to stop the project would be, quote, fiscally irresponsible.
You're right. Spending another $2 billion is not fiscally irresponsible, but stopping a project,
In fact,
that is fiscally
in fact,
irresponsible.
any pause or disruption, according to Zeal, would result in, quote, I can't believe he says this, extravagant increase in cost and even more delays.
He is a bit of a zealot, isn't he?
So that's
Yes.
Zeal.
That is zeal. Yes. He's got some zeal.
Love Kurt Doubt's comments. We need a pause on this permanently. This project should have never happened. Well, you've been the leader of the House how many times? How many omnibus bills, including funding for this crap, did you sign on to?
We need a permanent pause? I don't understand that.
We need to pause on this permanently.
Yeah, that's not a pause. That is, you put a stake in it and you kill it. Pause means you can press play again.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I mean,
This
ultimately
needs to be done.
needs to be more than done. It's
Build some
God,
tiny
and
homes
Walz
for homeless people.
compared he compared this to MN Lars. I mean, you talk about a bad comparison. That was one of the worst boondoggles
Absolutely
ever in the history of the
it
state.
was. How much coverage did, not for media, but, in socials and stuff like that? It was the source of ridicule for...
It was for a long time, and deservedly so. But I'll tell you what, here's the thing. I go back to this generally speaking.
Yeah.
Why is there just this lack of you called it a lack of looking in of reflection, and I sort of get what you're saying, but I also think to myself, where is the first off, where's like the mainstream media to commit? I mean, imagine for 1 second, imagine that the private sector did a public-private partnership.
Okay.
And the costs went over by a gazillion dollars.
Okay.
The scrutiny on that company would be immense. Mm-hmm. The scrutiny on this is matter of fact.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? I remember when Northwest Airlines got bailed out back in the 90s.
Yes.
Okay, and they, for a while, were not really holding up their end of the bargain. I don't know why. I don't know. I think eventually they did.
Yeah.
But it was a big subject for a long, long time. How do we get these guys to pay?
Right.
Because they're not holding up their end of the bargain. Okay, this goes over by gazillions.
Yeah.
And there's no call for the Met Council chair to be fired.
Right.
There's no call for Hennepin County to be, people to be sued or,
Well, it was even worse than that. I mean, do you remember, maybe not quite as far back as that, American Airlines broke some guy's guitar. He wrote a song about it, American Airlines breaks guitars or something like that.
That's right.
And eventually they ended up buying the guy a new guitar. But but something as simple as that, and you have American coming under scrutiny, and then, the government can just waste billions of dollars, and there's not one article, not one word of the press holding them accountable.
Well, here's my question. Take the Senate Republicans. Why isn't this Charlie Zeal guy being hauled in front of them?
Yeah, they have the power
Advice
to be able
and consent.
to. Yeah.
Why isn't he being, and I know this predates him. I mean, it does.
So what? He's there
He's
now.
in charge now. And and then the previous chairs, where are they?
Same reason they won't bring Jan Mel.
I know. It's all talk.
I mean, even at the federal level, our Republicans are trying to force the issue to get Senate hearings on various things.
They can get hearings, but they can't advance some of their stuff.
But at least they're doing that. We're not even doing that, and we own the Senate.
You keep saying we.
You know what I mean. Yes.
I know.
Conservatives in general, coming from that background.
Whatever you want to call
so
it.
Long,
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, but I mean, this right now, this could be, they could use this in November.
Yeah. But
hanging around these people that have pushed this. Don't debate the light rail.
Yeah.
Look at the cost overruns. Look at the poor planning. And where's the party running people at Hennepin County? Where's that been? It's never been there. And I mean, every project should be under 10 times the scrutiny. I mean,
yes,
it is a joke. It's ridiculous. And also, going back to the power of the Met Council, I always come back to, if you can't get rid of it, why don't the Republicans sneak some things into these omnibus bills like the Dems do?
Yeah.
Why don't they sneak in limitations on what the Met Council can do with this locally preferred alternative? Why don't they sneak in something that says, well, they can't do this or that on a local community?
Right.
I mean, they all go to a Tea Party meeting and talk about, we're going to go get that Met Council. Oh, we're going to, but then, no new taxes. We got to sell our kids for that. Okay, well, great. Okay, now the Met Council just says it is. So, I mean, there's an opportunity here, not just to get rid of this project and other projects and all that, but to also rally around this excessive government overreach.
Right. I mean, if the Republicans did not want light rail to go any further, I mean, they could pretty much end it by not voting for a single thing where light rail is included. You would be putting the onus back on the counties and the cities to raise the money themselves and do all the work themselves.
Yeah, and you know what you can do then?
What?
Take away their bonding authority.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. I'd
absolutely.
come in there and say, you can't bond for these either.
Yeah.
And some people call me a hypocrite for that, but you know what? Sometimes you got to do things to protect bad things from happening.
Yeah.
And I'll stretch the Constitution. That's fine with me, just like Jefferson did when he bought Louisiana. I'll stretch it if I have to. I would come in and I'd attach that with it. Or you can change the bonding limitations. I mean, there's that too. So, I mean, look, there's a myriad of things that can happen. What I can't understand is how the outstate folks, Republican and Democrat, don't get together against this. Because remember, that Met Council money's their money too.
Yep.
I mean, forget whether you favor light rail
They're
or
all
not.
paying
It
for
ain't being spent. If you're representing Lake County, your constituents ain't riding this.
No.
So why aren't they getting together with people and saying, okay, look, whatever you think of your ideology, we got to stop this, and we got to, that money, especially those transportation dollars, could be used outstate for roads. And there's just why aren't they getting together and what can't you reach across the aisle to do that?
You would think.
I mean, are they all on board with the DFLers? Problem is, they never get a straight up or down vote on it. It gets thrown into some omnibus thing, and you don't get the scrutiny.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would be really upset with all the stuff that's going on. If I were, because so much of the money is being spent on the cities, and it's just not fair that all this happens like that. I mean, there has to be something to stop this. Not to mention all the federal money. You send your money to Washington, then they send it back with strings attached, and it's and that's something that has to be put under scrutiny too. Where are our congressional delegation?
Yeah.
If I'm Pete Stauber or if I'm Jim Hagedorn, I'm going nuts about this.
Right.
You send $1 billion to a project that's already overrun and the soil won't. I mean, where's the scrutiny for that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Jay. I'm going to say that it goes further. I'm going to say it opens in like 2068, and it costs $100 billion. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, if it weren't for poor planning, they'd have no planning at all.
Exactly. It's like I always say about myself. If I wasn't a jerk, I'd have no personality. So I mean, there's just I don't know. It's pretty bad. I mean, and again, coming to a place near you, whether you live on the southeast side, the northwest, the north, the northeast. I'm telling you, go look at their master. They have a master plan of
on the Met Council website,
right? Of the 13 lines that they want to run,
and then going beyond that, and you have to look at Mado and each of the 10 regional development organizations out of Mado, where you've got the North Star wanting to go all the way up to St. Cloud. You got the Northern Lights wanting to go all the way up to Duluth, going through Cambridge.
Why do they want? They got the Jefferson Line buses that do a great job. I've taken it before.
Yeah, I did, and I had to stand all the way to the cities for 4 hours. I'll never ride it again. But
I was good, and we stopped at McDonald's.
I take that back. It was still Greyhound at that point. It wasn't Jefferson Lines. But they want to put down to down to Rochester. They want lines to go to Chicago.
Chicago, that's the Red Rock. They want
Yeah.
that to go all the way to Hastings and eventually go all the way to Chicago. I mean, come on. Do we have Amtrak somewhere? I mean, what? I think Biden's on it, right? Biden still takes Amtrak. He certainly doesn't. Hope he doesn't drive anymore.
Oh, no
Goodness.
kidding. He couldn't find his
Can't
way
even
to the
pee
ice
with
cream.
his It's I mean,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what. I'm interested to see I'm not interested to see the results in this audit because I don't think it's going to change anything. But how does this budget stuff get negotiated again? I mean, what do you want to bet? It's all funded. It's all got its. And, now I don't know.
Yeah, like I say, it's a bonding year, and they can definitely bond for whatever they need to get the money. So, of course, with inflation again, like I said earlier, it's just going to keep going up, and they're going to be short anyways.
Yeah, and like you said, the construction costs, the gas prices, the labor, which is of course higher than which is good for the workers. Unfortunately, it's not natural, so their buying power is not really increasing like it would if it were cyclical. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, if anybody else figures out how to stop this juggernaut,
yeah, you could lay down. Some people could lay on, although they'd probably just pick you up and push you away. I mean, and I'll tell you what, if there was a real protest to it, look at what's happening to the trucker protest. I mean, they're being portrayed as the bad guys.
Oh, absolutely they are.
I mean, it's the right-wing coup to take over the world.
Yeah.
Bunch of truckers waving flags and things like that.
It's Americans, conservatives from America that are spurring this on. Really? Why do we care about Canada? I mean, I wish them well and everything, And,
other than Labatt's and what else does Canada give us? Molson?
the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah,
not this year.
Montreal Canadiens or whatever. I don't know what Canada gives
the
us.
BAMP.
The Beaver. I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. One day I'd love to go all the way up to Hudson Bay one day.
Yeah,
because that's one of the largest freshwater spots anywhere in the world, and I would love to go all the way up there.
It would have to be in July. I think that's about the only time.
There's no ice fishing that goes on.
That's about it. Yeah, if I ever go to Alaska, it will be in July.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I've been to Canada one time. I went to Winnipeg.
Oh, that's it. Never been to Winnipeg.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Lake Winnipeg is awesome.
Really?
My best friend Kevin and I played in a volleyball tournament there.
Okay.
We were pretty good. We weren't Karch-Karai level, but we were not bad.
Yeah.
The blisters on my feet at the end were pretty rough.
I've been to Thunder Bay a couple of times.
Okay.
And is it St. Francis? Is that on the Canadian side? I think so.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there a few times. So did some camping somewhere in the woods, somewhere in Ontario.
It's funny too. I mean, me and my friends, we got. It took us a while to get across the border. I'll just put it that way because we just went to go have fun, and that was not easy to get across.
It wasn't, and this was before passports too.
Yeah.
I remember going up from Duluth, going up the North Shore, and I was going to go up through Grand Portage, or Grand Marais, Grand Portage, across the border.
Grand Portage is
Grand Portage, I think, is where they have the casino. They made me go back and get money because I didn't have enough cash. I was bringing credit cards across because I was not going to buy a lot. I'll get some lunch or whatever. It's just a day trip. They made me go back to the casino, get at least $100 in order to pass. And then I came back. They had me pull off to the side. I have had hair about as long as I have now. They went through my lunch and smushed my sandwich. I was angry.
You probably only had one piece of bologna on there anyway.
I was so angry. It's like, you smushed my sandwich.
Remember, they went through my luggage. I don't know what they were looking for. I wasn't 21,
Yeah.
but the legal age drinking in Canada, I think, was 18 or 19.
Yeah, probably.
And I was 19 or 20. But
Yeah.
so, I mean, and I admit, I went there to have a Beck's or an O'Doul's, but
I was, 22, 23 when I had gone that time. Whatever. They ruined my sandwich. I've never forgiven them for it since.
oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
God, Jay. But, I tell you what,
Yeah.
getting back to Southwest, here's the thing. Ultimately, I don't think this thing gets killed under any circumstances. I'm just going to make that mean. I just don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
Because nobody has the cojones to, make this stop. And
Right.
I hate to say it, but once you've picked off 60% of a scab, the government's going to pick off the rest of it.
Yep. Even though that might be the part where you bleed out.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just, it's horrible. You care to make a prediction? What do you predict about Botno? What's your new prediction on that? Because they're not giving that up.
No, they're not.
And I'm surprised. I thought Mike Opat would stay in office till he was
Yeah.
Rip Van Winkle just to get this passed.
He'd have to be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're still looking at the alternatives. They certainly haven't given up. They think somehow they're going to go right up the middle of County Road 81, possibly, or go through Brooklyn Center. Please go through Brooklyn Center. Stop at Walmart. Stop at the.
How could you go over the middle of 81? Where would people get on and off?
This is more the stupidity of government. We're going to take a 4-lane Botno Boulevard or County Road 81, make it into a 6-lane Botno Boulevard, moving the frontage road to a backage road through a neighborhood. And then we're going to, when we figured out that we screwed it up and we can't get the rail line from the railroad, BNSF won't sell it to us. Oh, well, then we'll take away 2 of the lanes we just added so that we can run something up the middle.
Yeah, I don't see how that would work, though. I don't see how you could put that in the center and have people.
You'd have to have walking bridges.
But how would people? Where would people park their cars? Where would they?
It would have to be on either side of County Road 81, and then they'd have to take the walking bridge over.
Oh God!
I mean, that's the only thing that would make sense to me. Or they'd have to park on either side and then wait for the light and walk at the crosswalk. But dumb either way. Dumb.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, with Southwest, I mean, are they using an existing line
Yes.
or existing railroad down there? I don't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah, they are.
So when they say
At
it's
least
60,
for part of it.
when they say it's 60% done, does that just mean the line is
Right.
there? And there, because remember, and this is critical to remember too, Jay. This doesn't stop with the line. Remember,
Right.
there's the transit-oriented development that goes around it,
Absolutely, which is going to be a bunch more money.
and
And
TIF.
that's probably not going to be county funded or state funded at all. That'll be cities.
It might be.
cities creating TIF districts
Or-
with directly with developers.
Yeah, and there's Met Council grants, though, that come with that. If you do TOD,
Right.
you can get the free money. Once again, everybody's money from Pequot Lakes and Worthington and Mankato and all that can all chip in every year, but then pay to fund the development around that.
Right.
Because we all know, you have to force people to ride it. And the only way you can do that is to make driving a pain in the ass and have everybody live so compactly that they almost can't drive. They almost
Right.
can't drive. So, I don't know. Is the world falling apart because we don't have Botno?
No, the world is falling apart because we have a government that is wildly out of control, and they are refusing to be reined back in.
Hey, look, all great things die from within.
Yeah,
I mean, just always remember, great empires die from within.
yeah, and crappy things seem to fester and bubble over, and you can't get rid of them.
I don't know, Jay. I honestly never thought I'd see all this in my lifetime. I really didn't.
Yeah, Yeah, I guess I kind of didn't think I would either. I think about my childhood and how carefree it, for the most part, it was. As far as like freedom and being able to roam and do whatever I wanted to do, and now I look at it and
Yeah. I know it's bad.
what are we passing on? Well, I'll save this for.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
If you don't know freedom, you can't lose it. That's
Yeah.
the one thing to remember. I mean, if you don't have it, you can't lose it.
Right.
It's kind of like the income tax. Nobody alive today was working before 1913. You don't know what it's
Right.
like to not pay an income tax. Minnesota's had an income tax since 1933. You'd have to be working 89 years ago to have not paid it.
Yeah.
So now it becomes normal.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even think about it. That's government's money when you get your paycheck.
Yeah.
So, all right. Jay,
Yes.
it's that time again.
Wow. Goes fast.
It goes fast, but we need your words of wisdom on a day like today even more than we ever do.
Yes.
Styling and profiling. Jet flying, limousine riding, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. Community Solutions presents with the sign-off sermon, ladies and gentlemen, words of wisdom from the one, the only, and thank God the only. Jason John Bradley.
John.
Is that your middle name?
No, that's my dad's name.
Oh, I just took a guess.
Oh.
Your middle name starts with a J, right?
No.
Well, what is it?
Nah. Rolland.
Roland.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I thought I saw Jason J. Bradley one day.
No.
Did I not see that? It's a
No.
Jason R.
Yes.
Jason R. Bradley, ladies and
JR,
gentlemen.
just like on Dallas.
That's my man.
Ruthless.
He was my favorite.
Ruthless.
Is that a surprise that he was my favorite?
No. Not at all.
Give us your words of wisdom there, Jason R. Bradley.
All right. Oh, goodness. We're in trouble. Good night.
Okay, folks. Yeah. We love you, Minnesota. Oh, no, I can't take your line. I
No,
won't
you
take
can't
your
take my line. It's funny because, Andrew and I are in our 40s.
Oh, now,
I guess
wait,
we'll put that
wait a
out
minute
there.
now.
But-
Speak for yourself.
So we've got this group of baby boomers that are in their 60s and 70s who came up through Woodstock and all of that, and don't ever trust the man. Don't ever trust the government. You've got to be able to tune in and drop out or something like that. Anyways, they supposedly had this great idea to be able to redo America in a way that was more just and where applesauce flowed in the rivers and lollipops fell from trees. I don't know. But
You're going Robert Tilton on us here.
that's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Midgets are growing. I can feel color. I can see sound. All right. Sorry, Jay.
Oh, goodness. So they come and they get into power and people trust them. And, here they are in their 80s. And they won't let go of power. No, they're getting too enriched by special deals that they've made with other people, other organizations, other businesses, and they're getting special favors, and they're why would you let go of power when you can have whatever you want at your fingertips? Sometimes the chickens do come home to roost, as we see with Prince Andrew. Not you're not Prince Andrew, but the real one. That's not just a slang term I use for you. But it's funny because we've got that group that will not let go of control. And then you've got Generation X, where Andrew and I belong. And then you have the millennials. And the millennials feel like they deserve to be in power already. Like they haven't done anything. They haven't achieved much of anything, but yet it's their turn. So you've got these two groups, and you've got the millennials who are picking up the flag from the baby boomers, because the baby boomers have taught them all of this crazy garbage that, oh man, you can be pregnant. No. A boy can be a girl if they want to. No. Check down to the cellular level and you'll see that you in fact can't. It's impossible. It's make-believe. It's balderdash. But you know what? You know better. Our listeners know when something is not right. You guys know that they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes, but unfortunately, when it comes to things like light rail or population growth and mixed-use development and bike lanes and whatever, you're only hearing one side of an argument. You're hearing these people that have been put into office either by pulling the wool over your eyes in elections, or by people who have been appointed or employed by these people who have been elected. People who have gone to the liberal universities and belong to the liberal professional clubs like the American Planning Association, and they take for themselves, and they have this unified vision that they keep pushing forward. And really, it is light rail or bust in this state. It is critical race theory or bust. It is more money, more power, more consolidation of things under one umbrella, leaving you out in the rain. And that is not something that we should be okay with. That is something where we need to take a look and say, hey, there is a problem. And there's a group of us stuck in the middle that we have a voice. We're not just some forgotten generation that some throwaways that, okay, we're not baby boomers, we're not millennials. No, we have an opportunity to lead, and we have an opportunity to lead by example and to teach the millennials and to teach everyone behind them in Generation Y or Z or A, B, C, D, E, whatever, all about liberty, all about fiscal conservatism, all about the Constitution, all about our founders, the value of using our natural resources, of being good stewards of our land. These are all lessons that we are able to teach them, and we must. We can no longer sit by and just allow this group of this small group of representatives and senators and governors and whatever to sit and push us around. No, their power is derived from the people. So we can let them take it. We can sit back on our heels and just, they can have their power derived from our inaction or from us putting up healthy boundaries and telling them no more. No. You will not do this to us. And if you continue to do this to us, you will find out real fast what it's like to be unemployed. You can be sitting at home at that rented sofa with a spring sticking out of it. No. We got to stop putting up with this, and we got to start sacrificing a little comfort for a whole lot of freedom. The only way we can do that is by moving forward and by not giving up. It's going to take tenacity. It's going to take standing in and having some courage, but we can do it. We are not alone. And there's no reason for us to think that we are or think that we should be. No. They do not get to tell us how to live. So if you're fed up, if you want your children to experience what it's like to live free, then we need to talk. Because there's a job for you. And it's one that we all can get in and do something and see things explode. Get a hold of us at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That is commsolutionsmn@gmail.com if you're interested in putting your hat in the ring. Because we need people just like you in every city, in every county, in every school district. We need county attorneys, we need sheriffs, hospital boards, all of it. We need people of common sense. Party doesn't matter. Common sense principles that we can all agree on, like the Bill of Rights. That's what we need. So get a hold of us, and we'll start you down that path. All right? I know there's a lot to think about, a lot to consider. And like we say, rail is coming to you in many, many places of the state, not just the metro, if you don't stand up today and put a stake in it before it gets legs. There's a lot to do, but we are fully equipped to do it, and we were created for a time such as this to be able to make a difference. Because we love you, Minnesota, but now it's your turn to get to work. Take my life, caught a break between the lines. Don't let me be. If I get too caught up